Henry the Green Engine has had over 30 years of models with countless differences and a cancelled one too. Surely it would take a madman to consider ranking them all, right? So Henry puffed into the spotlight back in 1993, making it the second model ever to be made. It was released by Play-Rail and came with a goods van and a log car, not bad, eh? Powered by one C-sized battery in the tender, Henry proved to be popular enough to feature in its own set. That's right, the masterfully named Henry train set hit the shelves in the same year, and although the box showed a Thomas, only Henry was included in the pack. This Henry is the OG, and therefore, out of respect, I'll give it a B tier. It's simple and does the job. 1997 saw the release of the Henry accessory set. It's quite a mid-set with the same Play-Rail Henry, but it has an error. On the back of the box you can see James portrayed with the number 3. B tier. And then in 2000, Play-Rail came out with the Talk and Action Henry. This came with a van, a log car with logs, and 6 pieces of special green track which enabled him to talk. This model never got an international release, and is therefore one of the rarest in the whole TakaraTomy Thomas world according to experts. A cool model, A tier. Motor Road and Rail then proceeded to release a Henry in 2003, featuring a significant update, a separately moulded face, A tier. But although this was a key difference in itself, Play-Rail then dropped what could possibly be the hardest model of the range. That's right, we saw an updated face, stripes around the boiler, and a white running board, as well as a change in rolling stock to a troublesome truck and troublesome van. This, in my opinion, is one of the GOATs of Play-Rail's catalogue, so we are placing this variant straight into the S tier. 2005 brought forward yet another talking Henry, but this one, while less rare, in my opinion, is the best yet. We get the 2003 detail with a talking feature, and an epic blue-grey express coach, which seems quite exclusive to the pack. Obviously this is going into the S tier. And 2 years later in 2007, Trackmaster Hit Toys released their Henry, a carbon copy of the original Play-Rail pack, but with grey side rods, therefore B tier. But they then released it as a Toys R Us exclusive pack, with goods van and log car. This was followed by a European release in which it lost the van. 2008 saw the same pack, but with a black caboose instead of a log car. And then in 2010, Fisher-Price got the license and immediately went around updating characters left and right, for better or for worse. Edward's eyes, oh my days! They went all out for Henry here with different sticker details, stripes around the boiler, new face design with teeth added, and eyes painted with white side rods. This, in my opinion, is an improvement over the hit one, and the painted details really give the model an A tier. 2011 saw yet another talking Henry, this time released by Fisher-Price, and despite a very peculiar looking prototype, it came out looking fine. However, it appears that due to the battery being placed in the tender, the size of the tender is colossal. But that's the trade-off that one expects in this sort of model, A tier. 2012 featured the Snow Clearing Henry, our first variant. We got exclusive snow details, a blue log car, and even a snowplow. Controversially, I'm placing this item into the S tier. 2012 has answered my request for a more convenient battery placement. Fisher-Price completely updated their tender engines, except Gordon for some reason, to have a tender separately attached to the model. This has been coined as a liberated model, and Henry did not miss out on the update. As well as this, added was a CGI-style face and no lamps, A tier. 2014 featured the biggest Trackmaster revamp ever. Trackmaster Evolution came out with a shorter chassis for all characters, which meant the usually long Henry. New to the model were a redesigned body with no middle wheel, new wheel rubber, a smaller tender, a motor with enhanced performance, and the item was powered by 2 AAA batteries. It shockingly was not as vandalized as the Edward one, as the stocky build of the locomotive translated quite nicely into the new mold in my opinion. There was also no unique wheel arrangement to be butchered, although despite this positive feedback from me, for the sake of the tier list it's going into the D tier, because it's really not that great, is it? But despite there already being 3 talking Henrys, Trackmaster Evolution had its eyes set on the big green engine and came up with this, the 2015 talking Henry, but then, for better or for worse, it was shelved, and out of this lineup, only 3 characters were made in talking form. Upon closer analyzation, it is basically the Revolution one, but as it would talk and I like the novel model, let's go with the C tier. It was then relatively quiet, up until 2018, when Play-Rail decided that they just didn't really like their old model anymore and created this. Updates included a red flying kipper truck, new side rods, CG face, and a separately coupled tender. I think it's a cool model as they didn't really do a bad job. The details are superb, and if we ignore the weird wheel arrangement, it is a top tier 1. The choice of the rolling stock is quite odd, as what on earth is a flying kipper truck? Why not a van? Anyway, avoiding my nitpicking, I reckon it's an A tier. But wait, there's more! Thomas Motorized, Trackmaster's successor, came out with the Henry Winston pack. This was based on the episode Henry Spots Trouble, the only Revolution pack, and it's low-key cool. Like, for a model made at the very end of the tail end of the lineup, it has some decent detail with the eye spec and the first release of a Winston 2. Honestly, C tier. In my opinion, quite a nice way to end the lifetime of a character. Do subscribe and check out my other channel, The Right Track, if you want more train content.